What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having a great day. I'm getting ready to watch the Apex reveal, which I'm going to be live streaming over on my Midwestly channel, but you probably won't see that because this will probably go up during that period of time. But I want to talk about the absolute butt blastedness of some game journalists last night during the Super Bowl time, kind of when it became very obvious that many of the predictions about this new game from EA, this Battle Royale in the Titanfall universe, well, it became obvious that it was true. And I actually had a lot of fun on Twitter, which is basically what I use it for, is just to let people know I have new videos, to ask you what topics you want me to cover, and then to kind of like poop post. And I saw a couple people, like games journalists from places like The Escapist, absolutely melting down on Twitter that basically they didn't get the scoop. And the more I thought about it, it became very obvious to me exactly why they were actually mad. And we're going to get into that, but I want to look at some of the butt blastedness first, and then we'll have a laugh together. The first I noticed was this absolute gentleman from, he's the vice president of editorial at, I don't know, Enthusiast Gaming, and he's the editor-in-chief at The Escapist. Now, I've never really heard of these websites. I mean, I hear of them kind of in a past tense, like, hey, this used to be a website, and then it got all soy-filled, and now it's kind of just a meme. I don't really know. I don't want to... Maybe they do good stuff. I have no idea. I've never come across anything relevant by them. But nonetheless, I get tagged in a Twitter thread from this guy. First time I've ever seen him, right? And I'm going to attempt to translate it into soy. And then we're going to look at another one. We're all going to laugh. And by the way, seriously, I know I'm smelling my own farts a bit here. It's kind of a big deal that we were able to scoop this, and you were all part of it, and this will kind of be the end of it after today. It may be years before I get that lucky again. And to be very clear, the only reason I got that scoop was because of you, the viewers, sharing me tips at thequartering@gmail.com. I wasn't out there like greasing palms and getting in like the bar, getting people, you know, it was because of you. So make no mistake about it. I know exactly why we had that good fortune. It had nothing to do with me, everything to do with you all sharing tips. And I appreciate that. And that's part of why these people are so butt blasted. But let's get into it. So, EA and Respawn flew out a bunch of streamers and journalists to preview their new game, and the streamers have been leaking it to folks like Slasher and The Quartering all weekend. And now there's an Apex partner hashtag, but the journalists have a Monday embargo. Haha, what a cluster fudge. But sure, games journalists can't be trusted. Also, The Quartering outright admitting he sat on his tips to, quote, protect Respawn is delicious. But definitely give me credit for breaking the story. Yeah, I did break the story, and outlets like Polygon, Kotaku refuse to give me credit, and that's okay. You know, even though I will at times literally read the articles from their websites, just because I disagree with them doesn't mean I lie about where they came from or I pretend that they didn't exist. That's what these little silly nannies are doing. And I know exactly why, but I want to share a little more butt blastedness for you. But again, look, Russ, yes, I did. I did everything I could. I reached out to Respawn. They replied almost immediately and then never replied again. So what was I supposed to do? I did what I felt was the most important thing, and that is be true to my only boss that matters, and that is the viewer. Unfortunately for people in the games journalism space, they have bosses and special friendships to protect, and I don't have that. I'm not loyal to anybody but the viewers, and that's a beautiful thing. It's something that journalists are, of course, very jealous of, as you can see. And look, also, if Respawn said, yo, yeah, we didn't fly you out, you're not part of the anointed ones, we don't like you, but can you like not can you wait until we announce it? Or can you leave this certain thing out? I would have at least considered it. I can't say I would have held back for sure, but I absolutely did hold back some of the information about the economy and things like that until I could see the full reveal. All right. So yeah, I was ethical, I believe. I could have just published it without reaching out to them at all. Then we see another games journalist here with a, and again, don't reach out to any of these people. They're going to subtweet about this. They're going to say that you're not doing me any favors. So by the way, if you send any hate these people's way, you're not really helping me. He is a male liberal, and a games media person who's worked at Motherboard and Destructoid. Okay. I also see, is this a picture with Milo Yiannopoulos? Oh, say no thanks to neo-Nazis. Okay, there you go. All right, now we know where your head's at. But let's just see. So we get my voice here. Get ready to have insufferable white dudes tell you how great a game is they're being paid to tell you is great. Well, not telling you, it's an ad. Hashtag, a bunch of hashtags. First of all, the tweet I saw from Dr. Disrespect was very clearly marked that it was a promotional thing. And then look how you're totally not salty. Looks like fun. So much fun being had here. Wah, wah. Here's why they're really mad. All right, let me just break it down for you in chapter and verse, but I think you probably already know. Have you spotted what's different on my set yet? This is a fun little game. If I get to an additional video today, I'll make another subtle change. Like this video if you enjoy sub games. The games journalists used to sell copies. They absolutely used to. I was looking for a copy of like Nintendo Power. Okay, back when games journalism was games journalism, they used to sell copies. You would read these people because you respected them. And to be clear, there are absolutely respectable, good people in the games journalism scene that probably would have been journalists at one day, but this is a rod of their own making. This is their fault. Everybody thinks they're a joke because of their own actions, because they say stuff like this, or they write articles, absurd articles, which I've got another video to work on about that. This is why people think they're a joke. It's because they act like a joke. They don't act like journalists. They act like journalists. And while many of them still enjoy the blue checkmark of shame on Twitter, their opinions are largely irrelevant. And at the end of the day, that's what really matters to them the most. The fact that they are now completely irrelevant, they've been replaced by essentially influencers, streamers, games industry figured out that journalists are irrelevant. In fact, they are like the anti-sales force, all right? They know without ever saying out loud that, for example, social justice warriors don't buy video games, all right? But yet Kotaku and Polygon and outlets like this write this drivel nonstop, okay? They know this. That's why they fly out a guy like Dr. Disrespect, and they fly out a guy like Shroud, okay? Because these dudes move units, all right? Because they play the game, they have fun, they have personalities. That's what people want these days. The trust in games journalism is gone. And this is why they attack gamers so much, is because they don't get any of that respect that they used to have. Again, because they gave it up. They chose. But that's why, Russ Pitts of The Escapist is so salty that a YouTuber scooped him on this Apex story. It's because he doesn't matter. Right? People in the YouTube sphere, people don't read websites anymore. It's like a big part of why Exclusively Games has to have a web presence, a YouTube presence, and a podcast presence. Games journalism is a joke. They know they're a joke. They know that they're in their late 30s and they have few options to stay relevant, and they're going to have to get a real job. They've destroyed their credibility, so it's not like a lot of these dudes can go start YouTube channels. Remember when the guy from IGN got caught stealing reviews and then he tried to go make YouTube videos, how that worked out for him? It doesn't work. There are only a few people in the journalism space that could probably cross over, and it doesn't look good for them because there will always be somebody who wrote that absurd article for Kotaku or somebody who wrote something about gamers being over. And yeah, I'm taking a bit of a victory lap here, and I do appreciate you indulging me, but I thought it was funny. There's definitely a lot more whining yesterday on Twitter about how they had to wait for their embargoes on Monday. Well, I've got news for you. You know, even when you do break the story today, nobody reads your stuff anyway, unless they're making fun of it. Nobody cares. Yeah, you have some connections that will remain valuable for a while that you've earned, and I respect that. But in 5 years, their games companies are just going to pass this straight through to YouTubers and streamers. You already see that with EA. Journalism is dead, and it killed itself. Check that for a title. Appreciate you watching. We'll talk to you again real soon.